Hey guys,
of money
welcome
and
to
hope
the
companies
video.
locate there. They need to
Welcome
also
to the
focus on
third
the
part of
amenities that are
morning
going to
routine.
attract
I did
families.
not want
So
you
arts
to
and culture,
see
but also
my
things
mom
like
driving to
trails and
school.
outdoor
We
recreation
just
and
dropped off my
sprucing up
brother at
downtowns.
school.
Here's Mark Phillips. He's commissioner of the Iron Range Resources and Rehabilitation Board, or IRRB.
Quality of life is one of the biggest draws for economic development. If you do want industry to flourish here, people have to want to live here.
So Phillips says they're starting to focus more of their public works money on things like community centers rather than just basic infrastructure like sewer or road projects. He's trying to approach this goal of economic diversification more broadly.
If we can up the quality of life a little, do some entrepreneurship things locally, do a little business attraction around those industries that we've identified, biofuels, new kinds of mineral. I call all that diversification because we've only had iron ore mining. It's been a very small box, really, for generations. So I think we're trying to move in a whole new direction.
And Kathy, this is a really complex undertaking because all these efforts are in a way dependent on each other. New businesses and people demand these quality of life investments, but to spend all that money, you need to know that there's going to be people there to support it.
Right, but for years and years, people say that they stayed on the range because of the quality of life. In that hunting, fishing, we had the BWC pretty close by. There's an off-road ATV park, that kind of thing.
Right, and this is something I heard over and over again. For example, I talked to a woman named Lisa Vessel. She's executive director at the Minnesota Discovery Center Museum.
I'm just going to tell you personally, I live on a lake. I can get out, I can walk, I can hike the trails, I can go in the state park. It's beautiful, and that lifestyle, I probably couldn't afford that.
Ma, can I get focused
Her
again?
husband's a teacher, so they're not
with the
business
ball?
executives or anything. But with their two-income household, they can afford a place on a lake or in the woods.
Yeah.
And Kathy, this cheap housing is a draw for younger people as well.
Let's talk about
No, I want to do it by myself.
that this is a big problem on the range, that the young people there leave after high school and they never come back. Is that true?
It is true that the range is still one of the older regions in the state, but one of the more interesting things I discovered and surprising things is that there are a lot of young people on the range working in mining, but also in other jobs. The number of 25 to 34-year-olds in northeast Minnesota outside Duluth, the number of those folks working there has gone up.
So I have to go to way back, like to the trunk?
And a lot of people on the range don't even realize it. I met Jocelyn Sabin. She's 25.
No, you had it.
And she's a biology instructor at Hibbing Community College. And she came back to the range after attending college in Duluth.
I was under this misconception that there was not very many young people, but we're growing. I think everybody thinks we all go away. And because that's sort of the expectation almost.
Is the range an attractive place for millennials? What do they think about the range?
Well, it's interesting. So I met a group of 5 young people in their 20s and their 30s. And there are definitely things that they want the range to have that it doesn't offer. They brought up sushi or Indian restaurants, for example. But the outdoors for them, like you mentioned earlier, is a big draw, and so is family. A lot of these young people grew up on the range, but that raises a big challenge as well. Almost everyone I met with said that the range has to be more welcoming to newcomers if they really hope to grow and diversify the economy out there.
Yeah, that is a long time issue, I guess, because it feels, and I can say this because I have family on the range, it's like a little bit of suspicion word, to newcomers. There's that old term.
I'm gonna put my jacket on because it's
the rangers used to call people who are not from the range.
Right, and people say it'll still be hard for outsiders to break in up there. People describe it to me as Minnesota ice instead of Minnesota nice. Something else I heard a lot is that the range needs to be more positive, to celebrate what it does have going for it, rather than dwelling on the negatives. Here's Jocelyn Sabin.
There we go. Watch. We're throw the ball. Okay, the ball is right over there. Let's go. Let's go. This will get me energized. Can't skip right now because it's the morning. Can walk. A good morning wave is such a good thing. Ha ha ha. Such a good thing. I'm gonna try to kick it because I don't know. I don't kick anymore. Not that far. Kick. 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 Let's try. Yes. I did it. I didn't touch it. No. How did we get to the bit to the left, but it's good. Good. Alright. I have to try to hit there. Damn. Sorry, camera, but I'm just gonna put you in the car. Sorry. I'm just sorry. No, I'm just putting my camera here.
Cruz, Trump, and John Kasich appeared together at a Manhattan hotel, and all of them had only good things to say about the city. Outside, the streets were full of anti-Trump protesters. We'll speak to one of them in a moment. First, NPR's Sarah McCammon on how the candidates were received inside. The event was a black-tie, $1,000 a plate fundraiser for the New York State Republican Party. But the talk for most of the night was all about New York City, and it was led off by one of its own.
I want to just talk for a second about New York values.
Donald Trump is way ahead in the polls ahead of Tuesday's primary. He's hoping to sweep New York's 95 delegates. At the Grand Hyatt Hotel, Trump recited what felt like a love letter to the city. He mentioned 9/11 several times.
The firefighters and first responders and the police officers and the Port Authority workers who ran up those stairs, those are New York values, and those are New Yorker values.
That phrase first came up early this year when Texas Senator Ted Cruz launched an ad shortly before the Iowa caucuses, painting Trump as a liberal New Yorker. But last night, Cruz had only kind words for New York, while going after his favorite target, Washington, D.C.
New York City is hallowed ground. It is the site of the worst terrorist attack on United States soil. And yet, in the 15 years since 9/11, many in Washington have forgotten.
Cruz is a few points behind Ohio Governor John Kasich in most state polls. Both are hoping to pick up delegates next week and make it harder for Trump to get the 1,237 needed to lock down the nomination. Kasich argues both
That's all for today. See you later. Bye.